So I mentioned in the last video that Crazy Kong actually had an enhanced version that followed up the original release. This is Cranky Kong Part 2, which also released in 1981 and is actually the last game of this year. Clearly all of the years will take around the same amount of time as this one to cover. Once again, this is essentially just the original arcade game again, but there's quite a few changes and additions that I find pretty interesting. Something not present in any of the other releases as far as I'm aware is actually a cutscene showing Donkey Kong escaping from his cage, which is apparently owned by the company that produced this port. Graphically, the color palette of this game much closer resembles the arcade game than in the original Crazy Kong. The girders for 25M were actually green in that original version, while in this one they're a closer shade to the actual color used in the arcade game. First gameplay change to note is the fact that the first barrel Donkey Kong throws down actually bounces left and right for a couple times. I'm honestly not sure if this is an intended feature or this is just a glitch, but it changes the way you actually start the level. The girders are also a little bit offset, so up at the top of the screen you can see the one hammer, which as far as I can tell there's no way to actually get. You could jump off the side and grab it, but by the time you land, you'll have died from fall damage and you wouldn't be able to actually use it. Despite the changes, they still haven't added the original fire enemy back to this last level. Crazy Kong tells you to give up for whatever reason. I don't know if that's supposed to be a way to disencourage anybody who's trying to go as far as they can, but this is actually the furthest I ended up getting in any of my playthroughs of this original arcade game. So after the first loop, there actually is a pretty decent change here, which is the fact that there's holes in the girders. It doesn't really change the gameplay all that much, and there's not really any changes of similar magnitude in the other levels, but it is an interesting thing that, as far as I can tell, isn't in any other ports of this game. The speed of the conveyor belts are upgraded to the point that you actually have to jump if you want to move back and forth, instead of earlier levels where you could just walk in the opposite direction and you'll be slowed down, but you still can move. Unfortunately, that's about the extent of actually interesting stuff that has changed with this port. Most of it's just going to be me playing as far as I can until I die. Other than flexing how rich I am with virtual quarters, I'm just showing off the multiplayer mode again, but it's really not changed from any of the previous versions of this game. They actually added a little jingle whenever you're running out of bonus time, unlike in the original Crazy Kong where they seemingly forgot to add that. And this is the end of this part and the end of 1981 as a year as a whole. So next time, we're going to start 1982, and it's another version of Donkey Kong. Though it is technically a different game, so that'll be interesting to see.